video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
I had some shit that's happened this past week as well. That's not related to what we'd seen on television. That just kind of reminded me of how fucked up some people can be in your life. And I'm not asking you to relate to it, but I think that what I could talk about, the two of you are obviously good-hearted individuals that you could take it from there to go with your own journey on what I'm about to share. And I don't want it to be about me, by the way. So I'll just try to figure out a way to put it in there as we're talking about friendship and all that. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Because I hate it being about me, but this, I guess, selfishly, tonight's podcast is about hanging out with your buddies, shooting shit, because you kind of need a night like that. A little bit of R&R and a little bit of God damn, man, what the fuck? Somebody did me wrong shit. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Meet in the Man Cave. This is a very special episode to myself and hopefully everyone out there who's watching and listening. So thank you. Today, we've actually have, four of us. Two individuals that's joining Chris and I in this particular podcast. But before I go any further, I have to ask my partner in crime, my good buddy, my good friend, Mr. Christopher Webb, how the fuck? I'm trying to be polite here. How the fuck are you doing? I butchered that with the fart thing.
Pretty good, man. It's going well. You know, just keeping up with things, trying to learn how to fucking catch critters.
I was gonna, we recently learned a little bit about what's going on in your day in the life when it comes to JOB, but I do believe that continues at your homestead when it comes to keeping up with the critters. And I'm not talking about the puppies. I'm not talking about the two young daughters, one that just turned 13 recently, but I'm talking about those little egg producers in the far back. I gotta get the latest update on that real quick before we go any further.
So I've pretty much created like a fucking mansion back there for these damn things. I got 2 chicken runs, and then I bought a shed as well so that we could try to kind of do an exclusion types issue, because we did end up, I never told you this, but we've had a fox in the bag, and he got 2 of the chickens.
Oh
yeah, he ripped the wing off, and that was pretty much all that was left was the fucking wing.
So
he was a mean little
you're out in the country, right, Chris?
Yeah.
So have you thought about setting that little fox up? Trapping him?
My neighbor actually just shot him with a 22 the other day.
Okay, there you go. Done deal.
Got him.
We were on that subject matter kind of in the last episode. I guess it's relatable.
Yep.
Oh, we lost one of our guests. Maybe he'll be back in a little bit.
I didn't tell you either, but they have went ahead. I can send you a picture of it if you want to pop it up. But
yeah,
if not, no big deal.
I'll add it to it later.
I do have the. They went ahead with the work truck. I've been there. I just completed a month. But they want
with
me
your
to
new
take a work
job,
truck,
okay?
Yeah, and start my own routes, and
okay,
it's moving pretty fast.
That's good.
Pretty fast.
And from what we've talked about, I feel like this is something that you're going to need. I do, because with your last job, you were probably pretty much on your own most of the time when it was handling the day in life with your work. And like you stated in the last one, you had a lot of those young pups that were underneath you. There's something about guys when they're in their 20s and their 30s, that testosterone, they just got to act like I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I know more than you. I know more than you. I'm faster than you. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Hazing.
Yeah, those little shitheads, they just don't know. You know, they're just They're young, dumb, and full of cum, and that's what gets them going. So,
Well, and you know what's funny is we got that old man strength that they don't know about yet.
that's right. That is right.
That is true. That is true.
I remember when my dad used to take it to me pretty good, and I'd learned to shut my mouth real quick.
Yeah.
God damn.
That could relate to our last podcast. What would help America if we had parents that kids could listen to? But I don't want to go there. No, I just don't, because we have to move forward. Speaking of move forward, Andrew, thank you once again for joining Chris and I here, meeting
Thanks
us
for
in the
having me.
Man Cave. Yes, we really appreciate it.
Welcome.
I didn't state it in the last episode, but I remember in the past you are definitely a fan favorite, and you're kind of like, but no, there are people who have enjoyed you joining us, meeting us here in the Man Cave in the past. And
Well, that's awfully kind of you to say, and for all those people, thank you. I appreciate it. Shout out to you
My
guys.
mother's one of them.
What's that? What's that, Chris?
My mother's one of them. She actually asks quite often, when are you going to have Andrew back on? I'm like, I don't know. He's a busy guy.
Yeah, well, tell her I said hello.
We brought Andrew back for subscribers, so come on, guys. Andrew's back.
There you go.
Do either one of you, Andrew or Chris, do you ever get that not so fresh feeling?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, thanks to our new sponsors, Mass and Gilbert. Yes, Mass and Gilbert. It sounds a lot like a Mass and Gil, but it's from Mass and Gilbert. Basically, they will leave you feeling fresh and clean. Yes, they're dedicated to basically affect a formula that cleanses you with some irritations down there. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a comfort glide strip with the flexible neck bottle. It's comfortable and easy to use. Mass and Gilbert. Freshness made simple.
I don't know where we went.
It's only available at Bubba.
So, Chris, tell me a little bit about your what you upgraded on the Type R.
All right, I ordered Morimoto V2s. They're the headlights. Came complete with the housing and all that, and it's really kind of cool. There's for the DRL, the daytime running lights.
Mm-hmm.
There's a plug that you can plug in and out. You can go with different combinations, whether you want the amber or the white, or you want them to fade, or you want them to blink.
It's cool.
You just have to plug in these lights. It's real cool.
Yeah.
I did that, and then I bought the wheels that I've fucking always wanted. They're Mugen MF10s.
The Mugans, yeah.
Mugen Wheels. We roll a lot.
Proud sponsor of the
That same guy that I was telling you guys about earlier, that he was just calling my Honda a piece of crap and all this other stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? This poor guy didn't even know anything about what he was talking about. He was calling my Honda a piece of crap. And truthfully, I mean, he was driving around in like some GMC turd that wasn't probably worth anything. And you know how Honda's valued as far as resale value. I was like, this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about.
I want to ask the both of you
Dude,
real quick. Seriously, I got to, before I forget, when was the last time there's been any recalls on Honda? I have no clue.
Well, I do have one on my SI right now, and it has to do with the fuel. I think it's the fuel pump. I know that we have the same gen Honda.
That hit all of us. That hit all the models and everything. Yeah, something about what Denso did in there. Kind of something with the wiring.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's the only recall I've ever.
that's the only one that I've come
seen
across on
before.
my SI, and you know yours is a 10th gen Civic too, I believe. So yeah, I think like you said, it affected all of them, and I haven't even gotten mine in to get it fixed yet. So I will soon.
It's I think it's something to do with the years, because it's also my wife was in there too.
Okay.
And she has a HRV.
Okay.
Something about that year, man. They bought a bad batch or something. I don't
Could
know
be.
what happened, but yeah, that fuel pump, the wiring goes bad or something like that.
Something like that will leave you enabled on the side of the road is what they're saying. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'll get it fixed.
Which I'm doing the fuel on mine and gutting all the fuel out and up in the injectors. I want 1400 cc's and I'm probably going with a 390
Wow.
low fuel pressure, and then an XDI, probably high pressure, because eventually I'll start to push the car. If I want to get up to the 500, 550 range, I'm gonna hit max duty cycle in my injectors. So you have to upgrade the fuel if you want to push it past. Right now I'm sitting about 420.
So you're thinking, like, when you say fuel, you're talking racing fuel then?
I'm already on ethanol.
Okay.
I'm on E20 ethanol.
Okay.
But I want to push it to probably E40.
Gotcha.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line.
For the last time, anything you put on that prompter, he will read.
Well, Jake, let's hear from you, sir. How's things been with you?
Pretty good. Is the volume still too loud?
No. You're fine, bud. Thank you. By the way, Andrew, Jake, this is Andrew.
If I could shake your hand, I would.
I'm so bad at that shit. Damn, I forgot.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. Well, as we were discussing earlier, I think we were going to talk about friendship. So it's nice to meet someone new, meeting new people, especially in my line of work, is always a cool thing. I always am trying to network with new people and meet new people. And so it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm glad you're on tonight. And I appreciate Chris and Scott having me on. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you guys for joining, Jake. Thank you for we did a podcast earlier, but you know what? This is the important one. This podcast, Jake, is basically in the subject matter of friendship. Maybe it almost would have sound like the series Friends, but if you want to go there, hell, you have a right to. But I wanted to touch base on friendship here. We talk so much about other things on this podcast: horror, cars, music, random shit. Last episode, we talked a lot about what's been going on in the world here lately. And no matter what goes on in our lives, from God, I think everybody could say this in a revolving door. Shit happens. But you're always so damn thankful when you've got some great friends backing you up. Family, friends, however you want to relate to it. And I just wanted to talk about friendship in this particular podcast because I know we all value it. And I think maybe a lot of us make sure that we get that credit out there. But sometimes I feel that some of us take friendship for granted. And I've dealt with that personally here recently. But before I go on to it, have you guys in your lifetime, have you ever had individuals that you felt that were taking advantage of you? And did you ever have to deal with those issues at times where you either cut them to the curve, or did you just feel like there was a part of you that, like, you know what, I'll give them another chance? And Chris, I'm going to have you start if you don't mind. I know this is like, oh, I threw you to the curb, but I don't think friendship is something that's going to be like, oh, I don't know how to respond to this. I know you do.
Yeah, so I'm kind of a notorious. I've never met anything that I couldn't cut out if I needed to. I feel like someone was doing me wrong. It's like a one and done thing. I'm kind of like, okay, you showed me who you are. I can walk away from this. Like, I've done my part. I've done what I needed to do. If you shit on me, then go fuck yourself. That's just kind of how I've always been. But on the flip side of that coin, I feel like the friends that have shown me like what I mean to them and have shown me who they are as a person, I feel like I am just almost loyal to a fault. Like I'll defend that person as long as I can, I feel like. And that is because I value friendship so much. I mean, it means a lot. My first like friend in the world was a dog. I mean, I'll just be honest. I was a dog. It was everything I needed. I mean, it was very special to me. And finding that in people is kind of so rare to me that
it's a little harder.
Yeah. I mean, people are complex creatures. We have, we're habitual. We do this, that, and the other. And sometimes if you think you know someone, they'll switch up on you overnight just to throw you for a loop, just to say, well, I wasn't so predictable, was I? I fucking got one over on you. I mean, you never really know another person, I don't think, but Yeah, friendship is very big. I of course some of my friends I consider family more than I do my family.
And that's okay, though.
It's weird, but that's what makes sense
It's
to
okay.
me.
Yeah. You can rely on them sometimes, more than you can someone. It is what it is.
The guys I went to high school with and stuff like that, I wouldn't be who I am without those guys. Like, they were my anti-drug. They were my whole circle, All I had really growing up was my dogs and my mom. So those guys, I've always just called them brother. I've never really called them a friend.
Yeah.
They are my family. They're my brothers.
Not to interrupt you, Chris, but speaking of friendship, what the fuck are you drinking right now?
Oh.
What the fuck you drinking?
Oh, shit. Well, okay. I got this
habit.
little guy.
It's a part of our thing.
Yeah, I got this little guy. He's called Camp Nelson. It's, of course, the Rheingeist. Pretty cool can art there. Pretty cool can art. It is a New Zealand style India Pale Ale. Kind of reminds me of Jason, though. I was digging it. I was like, oh, dude, it's like Crystal Lake. So I had to pick it up.
I was thinking of Jake, so this is good timing. Crystal Lake and all that.
Yeah.
Jake, are you a big Crystal Lake guy? A big Jason fan?
Oh, for sure.
Nice.
Jake is a big whore.
Especially Kane Hodder,
Jake makes us all look like we don't know anything about horror. I'm being dead serious. Yeah.
He has schooled us a couple of times.
Yeah. He's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to this stuff. Someday I can't wait till Chris and we got to have a podcast when it comes to Ohio beers, Rheingeist, what its history, what it's all about, and it's really fascinating for people that are just into that sort of thing. And in fact, Cincinnati, Ohio has won major awards. They're in how could I put it? You have your football teams, NFL teams that are always now it's the Chiefs. Before that, it was the Patriots. They were the teams that were always winning when it came to the Super Bowl. And I'm not just saying this, but Cincinnati, Ohio has been on the number one beers when it comes to, craft beers / IPAs.
We got a lot of.
So you guys are kind of probably competing with Colorado a little bit.
Colorado, from what I heard, is on that list. It's like the top four is Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Colorado, Denver, Colorado. So that being said, I don't have Colorado. I have another West Coast beer, and I want to go with something orange. Yeah, I had this. It's kind of cheating, but I really liked it. And this is going with another stone in a Meet Us in the Man Cave. Thank you, my friend Chris. He is responsible for these. Look at that.
Very cool.
These are awesome.
Those are awesome.
So
I got to send you guys.
Where can we get one of those? Redbubble?
Unfortunately not. Chris?
Okay.
I'm gonna order some again.
Plug it.
And I'm gonna send you guys out some.
That's kind of cool.
They've got a very interesting shape about them, as you can see.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Our beers kind of look similar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've had this already over at Chris. Thank you so much once again for inviting me over to your 4th of July party. I was able to bring my mom, my dad over with his family and friends. And him and I were.
You guys blow up shit there? A ton of fireworks there in Ohio?
We blew some shit up.
Yeah, we blew some shit up. There's still some left over, possibly. I don't know. But
There's about 3 bags left over. I was looking at it today.
Wow.
Between 3 of us, we bought a lot of fireworks. So
that's awesome.
I wanted to make sure that I interrupted his friendship thing. Boy, isn't that rude? That's not being a very good friend. But, I thought, what the fuck you drinking? Jake, it looks like you got some high quality H2O going on there, but you got to respect that. You got to pace yourself. We all need some water.
Aquafina.
That's right. Andrew, we're being rude. Friends don't do that. What the fuck are you drinking? Oh.
Segues. I am the most interesting
I
man.
was just about to say that.
And of course, I have my sidekick.
Stay thirsty, my friend.
I have my sidekick, and thanks to my good friend Chris. This isn't all about Chris, but I gotta, because the subject matter friendship, it's Redbreast. He did buy this for me for my birthday.
I'm kind of jealous, honestly.
Yeah, this was a hell of a birthday present. So,
How's that going down?
well, if you paid attention to the last episode, I didn't talk nearly as much. It's some good shit, and I got to be careful of it. Yeah. So
I know the record button will happen, and Scott will be like this, drooling.
yeah, I gotta do some yard work tomorrow. So be careful, Tiger.
What's the temps up there in Ohio lately?
Yeah, this past few days has been tolerable.
Okay.
I think we only hit like 90 like one day, didn't we?
It's been yeah.
It just so
I'm
happened
ready
that
for
day
fall.
I was stuck up in an attic.
Yeah,
Whew.
yeah.
You sound like you're an HVAC guy too, almost, Chris. Getting up in attics and that sort of thing, man. It's hot up there.
Yeah, it's hot up there. There was one day, this lady had really good fucking insulation already installed. And we get up in there to investigate. Fucking, she's got some critters up in the attic. I shit you not. Each one of those 2x4s I would go to grab felt like fucking molten lava, dude. It was fucking unreal. You couldn't even barely touch it. I was like,
Yuck.
Jesus Christ. This lady's got phenomenal fucking insulation.
Did she have spray and foam? Is what she had most likely?
Yeah, she had the spray and the cellulose foam.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
She had like R49 though. It was like almost 2 foot deep. It was crazy.
Yeah, I showed her. I went to a listing appointment this week, and it was kind of a cool little property. It had 36 acres, and it had 2 properties on it. They were right next to each other. But as we walked through the properties, the gentleman told me that literally the upstairs and the downstairs and the floors and the walls and everything had all that spray and foam. And it was like 65 degrees when we walked into this house. I was like, holy smokes.
That's my kind of place.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
I love it being cold. Speaking of being cold, Jake.
Segue.
Because that white ice behind you there. No, seriously, Jake, thank you for joining us here.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Thanks for having me.
And leading off to, have you had your friendship? What has it been like for you in a nutshell? And don't go, well, in a nutshell. Yeah. Have you had some people that's done you bad, or have you been very fortunate to have some great friends? Share us your story, man. Not shell us, but share us your story about friendship. Redbreast. It's what makes me fuck up.
A little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I've had great friends and people that pretend to be my friend and they're just total shitheads,
Yeah.
But that's life.
Yeah. Jake is good. He just, boom. He makes it, makes sense. You're right.
Simplified that real easy.
Trump needs some lessons from you there, buddy.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple. He'll get more votes. Although with this guy to his left. Sorry, that was a Biden joke. Well, Andrew, you, like I stated earlier, you are definitely a fan favorite. People look forward to having you on Meet Us in the Man Cave. You pretty much get the gist of it.
Well, I appreciate it. Scott, speaking of friendship, thank you for being a friend of me. I reached out to you back, what was it, in 2015 or 2016, somewhere around there, when you were kind of moving. You had just started moving, and you were at an apartment, and then you were looking for a house, and you had posted those videos, and I'd kind of reached out to you then, and so appreciate you being a friend over all these, years. I mean, shoot. It's 24. We're going on 8 years now that we've known each other. And I mean, that just kind of describes how time, as we discussed earlier in the previous podcast, how time just, it flies quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Before you know it, it's 8 years later. And here we are on a podcast that you and Chris have created. And, we've discussed, Myers masks, how to make, different,
Oh yeah.
just all kinds of stuff, Myers related stuff that we've discussed over the years. So, it gives me an opportunity to thank you for being a good friend to me. And still to this day, we've known each other for 8 years and we've never met in person. So
Yeah.
you don't have to meet in person to be a good friend to somebody, right?
Yeah.
So appreciate that.
There's probably marriages right now that are that way. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure.
Hey.
Mail order brides.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How long have you been married to your wife over there in the Ukraine? Well, about 12 years. How's that going? I don't know. I never met her yet, so it must be great. Yeah. Yeah, you talking about that, Chris, Andrew, it does make me reflect upon those times of just us shooting the shit, the Meyer stuff. And of course that relates to Chris, pretty much how Chris and I had met through the damn Michael Myers has just made us all friends here. And
over my right shoulder here is what you helped me create, so thanks for that. You helped me with that, what would they call it? The torso and everything else. You helped with that. So
I do.
Thank you.
I do love the Myers community, dude. I think when we put our heads together and we do things justly and are loyal to each other, I think we can do awesome stuff, dude.
Now that I think about it, that should be the next Halloween film. Seriously, we all talk about, oh God, is it going to be another reboot? Oh God, is this director going to screw it up? Why don't we just make it Halloween, the friendship that really truly matters? Because it has. It's brought a hell of a community together, not just here, but probably all around the world. And hell, make it into a documentary. Just make it a documentary. Somebody who has enough common sense to document the best of all these individuals about how they've met and maybe their collection or whatever. Shit, that would be more interesting than the crap we've probably seen on the big screen here lately.
Scott, At least feel it wouldn't like be a reboot. Stumbled upon something. Maybe it's looking for a director right now.
Nah, I got soccer coming up. I can't do it.
I was waiting for something.
And I can't believe I fell for that crap too, but it has to be done because like you said, time goes by and my son,
you got to be there for Zach, right? For sure.
No, it's so hard to accept that this is going to be his last year of his being in his 20s. God, it's so hard. And it seems like half the time he's been playing soccer. So yes, that conned me back in. Can you come be involved with top soccer some more? So yes. But
it's a great sport. I played it for 16 years without missing a season. So good. Kudos to him for continuing to play.
I sucked at every other sport and I was good at soccer, and I'm not putting the sport down. It had to do with friendship because there was people that I knew that was playing soccer. So I gave it a shot too. And this was back in grade school. So yeah, I loved it for what it was. And yeah, good times. And I'm glad that my son's been involved in it for so long as he'll be 29 in October. And he started when he was 10. So that ought to tell you how long he's been playing. So yeah. Amazing. But guys, I'm going to try to figure out a way to filter this when it comes to friendship. You got to be careful who your friends are out there. Even when maybe you're one of these kind of people that you just keep on letting them, give them another chance, eventually you got to cut them off. So if you've got individuals out there that seem like they only come around when they need something, you got to start asking yourself, how much more can you tolerate that bullshit? When do you think that person's going to change? Because Lord knows I've dealt with it long enough. And I got to thinking a lot about it the past few days because there's somebody who's been in my life ever since we were in basically grade school. We hung out more in junior high. And this individual who's just a year younger than me just can't seem to get together enough to support himself. Let's just put it that way. And recently, he asked if he could come stay with me. And I was torn because I knew how this person has been throughout the years. And there's a part of you that's like, you don't want to see that person out on the streets. But one of the reasons why he's in the position that he's in is because he doesn't know how to take care of himself. So he kind of makes you feel guilty for not being a good friend. But, you know, when is this person around when you need him? Does that kind of relate to some of you out there that are watching and listen? Because he never seems to be around when you need him. And sometimes all you just need someone is just to talk to. Shoot the shit. Maybe you're dealing with a loss, a loved one, and you'd like to reach out to some of your friends like, man, my so-and-so just passed away, or so-and-so is sick. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, or maybe you have a bad breakup with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, whatever the case may be. But, you know, that person never seems to be around until that person needs something. And I dealt with that here recently. And I hate to say this is not the right way to put it, but I'm proud.
And let me say it.
Okay.
He's probably not a good friend.
No, he's not. It's heartbreaking. It is.
It sucks. It sucks.
Givers and takers.
Because they try to do everything their best to talk about, oh man, you've been great. Our friendship. Remember when we were kids? Remember we were teenagers? Remember we did this? Yeah, I do. They were great. I wouldn't change a thing. But we're not kids anymore. And you've got to start remembering that.
Oh. Yep.
Well,
and I, if you don't mind me speaking to a little bit of that, I don't mind. I had I wouldn't even call him a friend. Like we discussed earlier, I would consider him a brother. And he ended up kind of getting tricked into getting married to this one girl, and this one girl just didn't much care for me. And she won't let him talk with me anymore. I still talk with his brother, but it's just I called him. This has been, my goodness, probably since 2003, maybe 2004, something to that effect. And I called him one day and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he said, "Hey," he was like out of breath, running. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Listen, Andrew," he's like, "she won't let me talk to you anymore. It's creating a rift in our relationship." And I'm like, "No big deal. You know what? If that's the way you feel and you're married to her now, I don't want to be creating a rift. I'm not going to call you ever again." I told him pretty forwardly. I said, "I'll wait, until you call me." And obviously he's never called, and that's okay. But that that opened the door for me to look and see who he is as a friend. I mean, granted, you gotta respect your wife, and you gotta take your wife over your friends, and I get that. But you don't cut them out of your life. I mean, they live in a completely different state. It was kind of silly, to be honest with you, and that kind of really kind of opened my eyes. When we talk about friendship, like we discussed earlier, Scott. I helped a really close friend today. He got into an accident, and he knew that he could call me, and I'm there. Without a doubt. And that's just who I've always been. And so, for an example, like the guys that I went to school with, I'm always there for them. I would like to say that most of my friends, they're there for me too. Speaking of, I've got a good close friend that's going to be flying in from Dallas this week, or maybe driving. I'm not quite sure what he's decided to do. But we're going to get together a couple times and have dinner or lunch and hang out and discuss a few things, that is going on in his life. So that's the great thing about friendship, is that, it's nice to be able to rely on people and trust people, and knowing that they're your brother really helps things, because that they're there for you. They'll do anything for you. And I've always given that to all my friends that I've had, especially through my high school career, college, and professional career. So if we connect, and I've even had people do me wrong, because they're younger than me, even in the real estate business, that have left me and gone with different companies. And I don't blame them for that. We're still friends. It may hurt that you leave and you go somewhere else, but at the end of the day, I mean, really, we're all human beings. Yeah. And, friendships matter more than a professional relationship, in my opinion.
I can't help but think about when you do have individuals in your life, friends, they end up really being, I don't know, I'll just stick with the word friends. If you have too many of those individuals in your life, and eventually when it gets to the point where you do get a little bit older, more mature, and then you start making new friends, you kind of feel like, okay, what did I do wrong to screw up that past relationship, And then you got to do everything you can to make sure that, okay, I hope I don't fuck up this next friendship, so I want to maybe back off a little bit so I don't, screw that friendship up because maybe I screwed that last one. I mean, the only reason I'm bringing this up because I thought about all this stuff and I'm like, you know what? If we're not just sitting here having four windows looking to our cameras, just talking about this stuff, we're thinking, you know what? Because we've talked about men's health before and the human heart, the human anatomy, the women and men is health. What if you're going through this? Because I'm trying to think of all different levels. Because let's face it, a lot of us put walls up to protect ourselves because of unhealthy relationships. So I don't know.
I built a whole fucking house. I got walls all over the place.
So don't ever blame yourself if you felt that you've been a true friend. Don't think that the next person that comes along, holy shit, this person actually treats me with respect. Don't, you just got to move forward. Just because that last piece of shit wasn't good to you, that doesn't mean it's going to happen again. So.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's the whole showing vulnerability thing. I mean, if you can view it as a strength instead of a weakness, it opens so many other doors. Like just being vulnerable to other people, saying like, "This is me." I mean, if you accept it, cool. If not, then fucking, we gave it a shot.
And you learn through life and experience and time.
And it is heartbreaking to see. I mean, I will admit, because I am literally going through that, it's still heartbreaking to see this person that I've known for so long. Let's put it this way. It was 2014. He got a house. And here it is, 2024. He had to be out of that house by yesterday, all because of his own doings. He wasn't being responsible. He kept on blaming everybody else in the system. Everybody else was wrong. It's always because of somebody else or something else of why he's where he's at now. So if you're doing that to yourself, you're stuck in a rut.
Choices.
You're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
We're all going through tough times. Before we hit the record button, Andrew told us something that was going on personal in his life right now. I don't feel comfortable to share it. That's up to him. But he's going through something difficult right now. Chris, well, he went through a lot of BS here not too long ago with the 2 mortgages. But now he's got chickens and roosters and hens and mansions and young kids that are just giving him shit. And his daughters are growing faster than weeds. And Chris has got it tougher than all of us right now, the more I think about it. But
I don't think that's true. I don't want to be prying too much. But without going into specifics, can I ask how that played out? What your response was?
It's yes. I'll go ahead and say it. I was stuck in a rut. I wanted to be in other words, don't play his game. Don't lie. Don't BS him. Just keep it simple. Because I knew it was going to happen. I got the text message. And of course, the last time I heard from this person was 2 years ago. And I don't know why this person just disappeared out of the blue. I was told from an associate that it had something to do with the pandemic, and it had to do with the fact of vaccinations. That's and crazy. In other words, it's just, you know what, I that's not what even this is all about. But the reality of, because I don't know what the truth is. The shit hit the fan for him recently. He was losing his house, and the fact that I haven't heard from him in 2 years, all of a sudden I'm driving from an hour. Well, where with the work I do, I'm not that far away from parking the work truck. And I get this, I have my phone hooked up to the Bluetooth, CarPlay, and I see this day. Don't say it. You see I'm not saying it here. I see a person's name pop up on the screen, and I'm like, you're numb. What the, huh? And all I have to do is hit that. And of course, CarPlay, Siri will play. Don't do anything, Siri. The message. And it's like, hey, it's me. Could you please give me a call back? I need to talk to you right away. And I'm thinking, oh shit, he needs something. I haven't heard from him in 2 years. And that's the first thing that I thought of. So it's like, okay, all of a sudden my day went downhill. That's messed up. My day went downhill. It should be like, oh, cool. It's so-and-so. I haven't heard from you in a long time.
Right. Let's catch up.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times too, Scott, I mean, let me ask you this just out of curiosity. Is this friend of yours, does he have children?
No.
That puts things into perspective. When you have children, I think it really does. It puts things into perspective for people.
No, he has
for some people.
Yes, he has 2 dogs. And I'm glad you asked, does he have children? Let me add the 2 dogs, because I still feel that I owe to answer Chris's question. I went ahead and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call back. Hey, what's up? Actually, I said, well, I'll be home in a few minutes in the text responser because I'm speaking to Siri. I'm like, well, I'm going to be home, blah, blah, blah. I get home, like, oh, man, I don't want to do this. Because I had a gut feeling I knew what it was.
Right.
So I'm like, let's get it over with. I called and I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, Mom, can I call you right back? My mom is here right now. And then I heard in the background her speaking I got the impression, I could just tell she was talking to somebody because, she said, yeah, he needs a place to stay. And we got off the phone. So I'm like, oh, my gut was right. And I'm like, fuck, I'm having a good day. And it's a Monday, I think. It was a Monday. I don't know. It just did, because you feel like, wait a minute, it's a Monday. I'm having a good day. This doesn't make sense. Mondays, good days don't relate. They don't go hand in hand, I guess, for most of us. And
Monday said, you just wait. You just wait, buddy.
Exactly. So I didn't hear from him, which is, gee, is that shocking? Whatever. So sure shit, the next day, yeah, it was Monday because the next day I'm going back to the same town. I get on the highway and then I get a text message. There's that person's name again. I'm like, and it's like, as soon as you get up, could you call me? Because I'm kind of in a bad situation. I'm thinking, this is 8:00 in the morning. Yeah, whatever. I'm like, all right, I'll go ahead. Bluetooth call him. Let's get it over with. Because I had a gut feeling I knew it was. Hey, not like, hey, Scott, how's it going? How you been? None of that shit. None of that. Hey, I'm kind of in a bad situation right now. Yada, 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 yada. Blame. Not my fault. Not my fault. I'm not going to get into it because it's after a while, it's kind of like I know it's been a long time since I've dated guys, but I do remember you're not even listening to me. You're not listening to what I said. Because at this point, I'm hearing wah, 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 because it's the same old song and dance bullshit that I've heard before.
Never their fault.
Yeah, because he had COVID before. He had brain COVID, fog, whatever issues, but it was the same story that I heard before. And then it's like, I'm thinking, just get to the fucking point. I'm trying to, I got to be out of the house by Friday. They're auctioning off the house. And when he starts talking about, cause renting, this was a house that it was his house at one time, but he had chapter 13 or whatever. He lost his house back in 2019. Everything he had, his house, his car, boom, boom, boom. He had he was stupid. He got a bunch of credit cards. Anyways, would you mind if I stay with you for a little bit? And I'm like, that's what I've been waiting for you to say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, Scott, stick to it. Just stick to it. Just say, no, can't do it. Leave it at that, because it's not his fucking business why he can't stay, as far as I'm concerned.
So
And
he wasn't there for you.
Yeah.
He hadn't been there for you.
Yeah,
I mean, things might be different had he been there for you.
exactly.
You know?
Let's say the circumstances were completely different. Let's say this is if I said his name, I got to fix it later.
Well, and I will say before you say anything else, I mean, like I said, I mean, you know, we've known each other now. I can't believe I'm even saying it, 8 years. And so obviously had he been there for you when you were going through some tough times, and we had talked about those years ago,
Yeah.
It might have been a different reply from you as well. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Just to reiterate that. So
if it were any other circumstances, like say this individual really ran into a jam, like he's always been there for me, vice versa. Let's say a tornado tore his house down. He had no place to stay, house fire or something. Something terrible happened, but he's just somebody who was always there for me. Then yeah, absolutely. I would try to figure out a way for him, a roof over his head, because I knew that he would try to get back on his feet right away. He had a job, all that stuff. Which, by the way, he doesn't have a job right now. He doesn't have a job. My response to him wasn't the way I planned it. But when you said, Andrew, when you asked if he had any kids,
right,
he mentioned, I don't know what I'm going to do about myself and my 2 dogs. And I'm like, well, he says, I said, well, have you thought about, he said, then he goes on and he says, I can't, board them up because they haven't had their shots. They haven't been fixed. Right then and there, I was like, Chris, you talked about it with friendship. What did you say about your, like dogs?
My first best friend. I put dogs ahead of most people.
But on the flip side of that coin too, Chris, that's a lot to ask someone to take in your 2 dogs that's not been there for you, which, you know what I mean?
Very good
I
point.
agree with what you're saying too, Chris, 100%. But from Scott's vantage point, me looking from the outside in, I mean, Scott's got to think about that too. He's got 2 dogs. They don't have their shots. He's got a son. Who's to know, or who's to say that these dogs don't maybe snap at Zach or do something like that? So that would be, as a father, one of my concerns. You know what I mean?
That is very good. I didn't even, Andrew, that's excellent.
So there's just lots of variables there that would cross my mind. Then I would be like, hey, look, where were you for me when I needed you 4 years ago? Where were you? And so to be a friend, I think you really have to, you have to be there. You have to reach out. You have to talk to those people that you haven't talked to in a while. And you have to, just reach out to people here and there every once in a while. Like you did with me for tonight, Scott. You reached out and said, hey, would you like to be on? I said, of course. So it's just one of those things where
we need more subscribers.
Right. We do. You do. Need to get you a ton more.
Yeah, just joking. We get them because if they stumble across us, then if they enjoy our shit, then awesome. If not, oh well.
If they do, they do.
Yeah. But you're bringing up some excellent points, and honestly, I didn't even think about that. I should have, because as a father, you're right. I mean, my son.
Well, just think about these dogs coming into your house and pissing all over your carpet, or taking a dump on your carpet, and all this stuff this guy's asking from you, and he hasn't been there for you. So why should you be there for him? And he's asking a lot from you to bring these dogs into your home. That's a lot.
And a little backstory.
For me, that would be a lot.
Yeah, and some backstory of what Andrew's talking about here. This is our first rodeo of, well, gee, it's been years since I've heard from you. This has happened throughout the years. So it's like, when am I going to eventually say enough is enough?
Yeah, it's a pattern.
Yes, exactly. So, folks, as you're listening to this, I hope that if any of you out there are going through something similar, I'm hoping that I can inspire you to say enough is enough. Listen to what Chris and Andrew are saying to me. Listen to what they're hearing, and listen what I'm describing. Because you got to put your foot down eventually. Enough is enough. And I know it sucks because you always have some hope out for that person. But if they cannot get their shit together, if they can't grow up, if they can't wipe their own ass eventually, then what can you do for that person? But go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, and I hate to really talk about somebody that I don't know on a personal level, but I want to take it back to the fact of if he had valued your friendship in the right way, who knows what could have changed in those 2 years that he did not talk to you? Who knows how many times you could have been there for him and changed the outcome ultimately for him? Like, I feel like this is a lesson that he should learn right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it would have been up to him. Maybe he could have inspired me more. I could have inspired him more because he's a very artistic person. I wanted to get him involved when it came to masks. I wanted him to teach him with painting masks. I thought he would be amazing at it because he is an incredible artist. The guy, I've got behind my life-size Myers right there, I've got a picture that he drew. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's amazing. I've got he drew a picture. Now, this is where I'm putting him on a pedestal here. He drew a picture for me of Edward Van Halen. That was a cool thing that he did years ago. Yes, there was reasons why him and I were friends for so long. We were kids at one time. We had a blast. We were like Beavis and Butthead. We were too smart we ruled the world. We were the jokesters. We had a great time. And there was great things about this person that I loved dearly. But there's things about him that over the years, he would disappear. Selfishly, he would disappear about God knows what. I'm not going to get into all the details. It's not important of the poor choices that he's made in life, bad decisions. Let's just say it's drug related. It's, those were his demons at times. But still, he treated me and his other family and friends the same, not just me, but he'd lied to us all the time. He took advantage of us all the time. He was a piss poor, shitty friend. And
to me, and I don't know your friend, but it sounds like to me he was more of an addict.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I hate that for you. I've had friends like that as well.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. It is. It is. And you watch them fall apart right in front of your eyes, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I've even, we've discussed this before. I played in a band years ago. I've had the opportunity to get to play with some really great musicians before. And, I lost my lead guitar player due to his addiction. And it sucks. It really does. It sucks. And kind of the story behind that is where I'm from, we're about 30 miles apart from each other. And it took one guy moving from high school from that particular part of town to my high school, and he introduced us to about 150 of his friends. And we all became a circle of about 300 to 400 friends. And he became an addict, and we lost him back in 2014. So this September, my lead guitar player has been gone 10 years. And so, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That sometimes people cannot get over that addiction part of their life. It's heartbreaking because they don't realize all they care about is their addiction. And so they don't care about their friendship with you. They just want to know, hey, look, I just want my drug and I want to stay with you. Can I do this? Can I do that? And you're just stuck having to make the hard decision, right? So
I've got,
it's sad.
Yeah, I could go on and on about some of those chapters about the drugs and the shit and all that, but no, we don't need to go there. I want to get back to the dog situation when he said there's Jay. Very annoying.
I saw the name. I was like, Jesus Christ.
This is good timing with names. This is a good time with names of friendship and all that. Technology, it screws up friendships. There's no doubt about it. But what Chris was talking about with his friendship with dogs and all that, and then, of course, this individual that I've been speaking of, talking about his two dogs they're actually a little bit younger than this little furry guy to my left here. Chris, I know for a fact himself personally, he has 4 dogs. His mother has 2. They're putting up a mansion for chickens and hens. Now, I'm not, but my point of it is when those little guys, that you put them first, just like your kids. And I've got Dozer's Care Provider down here. I always try to put our funny names up here. very annoyed HP user. He gets it. That right there gave me an opportunity to say to him, I got news for you. I've got a dog over here now, a golden retriever. And with you having 2 dogs that hasn't had their shots, I don't want them around my dog.
You can't do that. There's parvo. There's all types of shit. No, you can't have that shit.
My dog, who I've heard through over at the Webb's house, they're St. Patty's for the 4th of July. I get my holidays mixed up. 4th of July.
You know, I just got to ask. How long has he had these dogs?
That's a good question. From what I understand, he's had them for the majority of their life, and they're like about 6 months younger than Dozer.
A year and a half. He hasn't taken them to the vet. He hasn't done anything for them. No shots, no nothing.
So
like I said, they're man's best friend. And so if you're not going to take care of your dogs, how are you going to treat your friends?
Probably about the same.
You guys are doing a good job of putting the pieces together here.
Hey, if I'm all for everybody having a dog. I think everybody should have a best friend. But if you're not willing to treat that dog as family and take care of that dog, then just don't get one.
Don't. In other words, I'm going to just pretend here. I'm just going to pretend because I have no clue. Let's say this individual that I'm speaking of will post photos of his dog on Instagram or whatever. But yet, when the shit hits the fan for you because you're not taking care of your responsibilities, why weren't you taking care of your dogs? You obviously had no business having these dogs in the first place. Because if you're not looking out for their best interest, then why the fuck do you have these dogs?
Right.
You know, because
that explains your relationship with him, Scott, to a T, in my opinion. I mean, if I was a therapist, that's what I would tell you. I'd be like, if he's going to treat his dogs this way, how's he going to treat you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, as I was like 4th of July over at Chris's house and all that, Dozer, which is, yes, actually Dozer is, to catch you up, Andrew, because you were asking, I think, in between our podcast, my parents, sadly, as we all know, parents get older, right? That's a part of life that sucks. If you're like me, your parents are cool. Why are they getting older? I don't get it. But sadly, every once in a while, it's a reminder, especially when one of your parents is, hit some health issues. And this year's been kind of scary. Well, with my mom and dad, and my mom she refuses to accept help. But when it came to their dogs, Brian and I can't take on 2 golden retrievers and a Shih Tzu, and God knows what else she'll have soon, because that's how they are. Oh, a cat, because she's afraid of mice. They live out in the country too, and mice hopefully doesn't exist, if you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So Dozer, a male golden retriever. He's a sweetheart of a dog. Let's just put it this way. Like I said, when I was over at Chris's house, you could ask Chris. Anytime I've been over at your place lately, who's with me?
Dozy.
I would assume Dozier.
Yeah.
Dozy Doze. He's got a little bed in the man cave over here.
So tell me a little bit, Scott, about this dog. What type of dog is it?
Well, if I had my camera angle right, he'd probably come over right now. Dozer is a golden retriever. Nice. He just celebrated his 3rd birthday, 4th of July weekend.
Wow.
And I even heard Chris's best friend, his wife, Natalie, because I was walking out and she said, he's not, because he was acting, I'm trying to do one thing, you're busy, right? You're whatever. And I heard Natalie say, oh no, he's not going to go over with that unless Scott's there. He does. He's by my side quite a bit. Mm-hmm. He's actually literally laying right over here because I'm sitting right here. This dog has 2 beds. He's got, actually 3 beds. Like Chris said, he's got a bed. Technically, if Chris wasn't sitting, we put a bed behind there if we're over there.
Over there on the floor.
He's got a bed at the end of my bed, and then he's got a bed out in the living room. So I started thinking about this person's dog situation, him asking to come stay here. And I started thinking about, and I'm going to try to sum this up on him because I started thinking this. You've been an irresponsible individual for 53 years now. You've been an in and out revolving, terrible so-called friend throughout our half those years. You're asking me if you could stay over here because you've basically stumbled and fallen, not once, but twice, but 3 times. Now you want to come over here and bring your dogs, which I'm sorry they have not been taken well care of because you can't do it. You obviously are not concerned about their well-beings. So no, you're not going to bring your poor dogs over here around my dog because I'm not going to get him. I'm not going to risk his health. No way. Nuh-uh.
Well, your dog is a part of your family.
This is his house.
This is his house, not and you bring other dogs into your house. You got to know about dogs and their packs.
Exactly.
You know, they create packs, and so it could create some huge issues. I mean, I'm just speaking from experience. I'm a huge pit bull fan, and I've had a ton of them, and my wife talked me into.
Be careful, you might hurt Chris's feelings.
That's my baby.
He said pit bull.
Well, I'm a huge pit bull fan. I still am. But the only drawback to it is they like to chew on stuff and they shed. That's the only thing. If you raise this dog right and you treat this dog right, it's going to be just as loving as a little bitty dog.
And it's so spooky. On certain dogs, they understand every word you're saying. Right. Well, I also have future plans of this house finally. I've got to tell myself to cut myself off from buying another guitar. This thing behind me, I got to get paid
half stack?
Yeah, my head and this
your half stack.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got plans to. It's going to have to come out of this section of the man cave because it gets too hot in here. Blah blah blah. In other words, my bar right now, it's going to actually be part of my living room, and I'm going to make a music room where my bar's at. And I also have to think about, well, Dozer, we got to make some rearrangements for your beds and your sections and your water and your food and all that. He'll be fine, but I'm putting this as a priority. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something in David, no, in my mind, you're not coming over here. I've got a dog. I have Zach. Those 2 right there. I got 2 boys right here that I'm responsible for. You're not getting in that way. Your 2 dogs are not going in the backyard. That's Dozer's not his backyard. Nuh-uh. Fuck that. I already have to pick up his shit. I ain't picking up their shit as well. And second of all,
go ahead, Scott.
And this will kind of end my thing of it. Second of all, the 2 of you, now granted, as we all know, Mr. Christopher Webb has a beautiful collection. I personally get the chance, if ever I feel the need, I need to see a JC mask, I'll just go over to Chris's house and look at it. But I get to see a lot of other incredible masks that he has because he spent a lot of money, worked his ass off. He's got a lot of Morgans, which, by the way, since we're on the topic of friendship, Mr. Chris Morgan, sorry you couldn't join us. Next podcast, hopefully you'll be here with us, WMP. He's not feeling well, so I want to make sure I said his name real quick because he was going to be a part of our show tonight. So
he's feeling better. Well,
and speaking of that moment there, Scott, sorry to interrupt. I just want to extend a hand there to Chris too. I was looking forward to meeting him and saying hello. And, I've followed him for a while as well due to you, Scott. So hopefully one of these days, maybe in a future podcast, we can make that happen.
Oh, I'm sure we will. He said that you got the message. He had a migraine and all that. And
sure.
He
I
knows,
get it.
Chris, I'm going to let you speak for me here. Mr. Morgan, what do you think? What do you think about Mr. Morgan here?
I mean, I can't toot the man's horn no more. I mean, it's looking.
You've seen him enough of this, right?
I know it's looking a little suspect here. I don't know. No.
Well, you know who I want to hear from is Jake. Guy, come on, Jake. Let's hear something.
Oh,
tell me a little bit.
Yeah, you're annoyed as hell, Jake.
Well, it seems to be working now. Cross your fingers. I love horror, and I am going to a horror convention next weekend, this coming weekend.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
at?
In Novi, Michigan, and it's called Motor City Nightmares. And,
Okay.
Very cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Jake lives a little bit further north of us here in Ohio, Andrew. He lives
Okay.
yeah. So
So Jake, do you have like a Facebook or Instagram where you're going to be posting some of that stuff?
Yes, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that.
Fantastic. So what's your handle?
Usually just Jake T. Patton.
Okay. Well, I'm going to follow you. I want to see all the photos you pick up this weekend then.
All right, cool, man.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to that. That would be cool. So do you know who all's going to be there?
Oh yeah. Ray Wise from Twin Peaks, Jeepers Creepers 2. Steve Williams from Jason Goes to Hell, and a lot of people, but you know.
Will Danielle Harris be there?
No, but she has been there in the past. But
Okay.
Mekhi Pfeiffer from 8 Mile.
Michelle Pfeiffer's going to be there.
No,
Mekhi.
Mekhi, I'm sorry.
From no problem, from 8 Mile, and
Okay.
yeah.
Scream 2?
That was Omar
Epps. That's right.
But they do look alike.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, not just because they're African American, you know. They have similar features. They're bald, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
balding.
Right.
What about balding?
no, these two act. Yeah. But,
Jake with
I feel
all
like-
that hair.
I feel like, boys, I'm drinking more beer than you guys. I'm stacking them up over here.
Oh, my bad. No, Jake definitely has an eye for horror, and
That's awesome.
yeah, he definitely has an eye for horror. And
So, Jake, educate me a little bit. What's your favorite horror movie? And give me your top 10.
Oh, man.
You know how we like our top 10s.
Okay. Night of the Demons is one.
Okay.
Pumpkinhead.
Okay. I've not seen any of those.
Oh.
Keep going.
That's good.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's a good one.
Haven't seen that one either.
Oh, dude.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to be busy.
Yes. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 3 or 4 or 5. You know.
Dream Warriors, yes?
Yeah.
Warriors.
Yes.
Yeah.
It had Patricia Arquette in it.
Yes.
Jake actually interviewed an actor from Dream Warriors on his podcast.
That's cool as hell. Who was it?
Ken Sagos, Kincaid.
Oh, very cool.
Kincaid.
Very cool.
That was a good
Okay,
interview.
keep
by the
going.
way, buddy. I didn't get to tell you that. Good job.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
awesome.
Thank you. The Blob, 1988. It's just a badass movie.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, seen it.
okay. The Faculty is just, you know.
Yes. That had what's his face in it. Same time they were filming H2O.
Yes, Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett, yes, sir.
He's got a new horror coming out.
Yes, he does. M. Night Shyamalan. Saw the preview tonight or preview last night at Twisters. Looks pretty amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, how was that?
It was good. It was good. The special effects were fantastic. The action was fantastic. It was just a little hoaxy.
I bet the
A little
soundtrack.
hoaxy. I mean, I live in Oklahoma, you know, and I mean, you're not going to be able to shut down a tornado. I mean, come on.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, keep going, Jake. I think we're on number 6.
I bet the soundtrack sucked to that though.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Van Halen did the soundtrack for the original. Oh, sorry, Jake. Go
I know.
ahead.
Child's Play 2.
Yes.
It's the best one.
Yes.
Event Horizon is a classic.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
And that's with
Sam Worthington.
Close. Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill. That's right. I couldn't think of it. Yep.
And Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes. Geez, this is hard, man. You put me on the spot.
I know.
No, it's your
It's your picks, man.
Yeah. It's your
okay,
specialty.
Okay, this one is a controversial. No, Jeepers Creepers 2 for sure is. You know,
That was a good one.
yes.
Yes.
So, Final Destination. You know, that's yeah.
See, Jake,
Final Destination.
that's his thing, man. He does horror like you wouldn't believe.
I know. Keep going. Keep going, Jake.
What are we up to?
I think he did
8,
like 15
9.
of them.
Yeah, geez.
No,
Yeah.
we're actually on number 10. I've been counting.
Because I'm not trying to shut him up. I just know Jake. I know he has a passion for more than 10.
I know. Sounds like it.
Good.
What's your 10? What's your 10 spot, Jake?
Gun to my head.
Ooh, I haven't seen
House
that.
on Haunted Hill, the remake. Yes.
Okay. Does that have Jennifer Lawrence in it, or am I thinking of The House on the Left?
You're thinking of the house on the left, I think.
Okay.
He knows his stuff.
That has
Yes, he does.
Tay Diggs and Ali Larder from
Okay.
that football movie. I know that Varsity Blues. You know, she's in the
Varsity Blues. Yes, sir.
Yeah, she's in the whipped cream bikini and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cream bikini, baby.
Dear Lord. Don't ever play Jake on Jeopardy with horror stuff. No, you'll lose. You'll lose in a heartbeat.
That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, one more thing. I got to
Wait,
basically
last-
end up that real quick. I don't trust somebody that screwed me over so much in the past that I'm afraid, because he knows the value of what's sitting behind me. He knows that on a given day when he needs to get out of here, he could take what's on to my left,
Crazy.
and he could also take what I've been getting into when it comes to horror and music. When he feels like he needs to, he'll grab that shit because he knows the value of it and he'll sell it in a heartbeat. So no, I don't want that kind of person in my household. I don't want him around my dog. I don't want him around my son. And I certainly don't want him to fucking steal my shit and sell it just because
He needs to get high. Period.
yeah, or his next bullshit excuse to do whatever he needs to do. So
Fuck that noise.
That's wild.
exactly. Just because I know it kind of puts a really sharp stab into what we were talking about earlier. But I've been through something very, very. Gary Sharon, when he was the front for Van Halen at that short period of time, I was going to go see Van Halen in concert, and I had tickets for that particular concert. They were in my drawer along with a camcorder that I had. It was an expensive, I know, high 8. What's that? Some of you may be asking. But it was an expensive camera along downstairs where I actually edited a lot of videos with a linear tape deck. And I had Star Wars stuff that I got for Christmas.
Don't get me started.
Yep. Not only did he steal my Van Halen tickets, 2 of them that I had, my camcorder, but some Star Wars stuff that I had hanging up on fish wires because I had a Millennium Falcon. Because I got it. It was so cool. It was like Zach was a year old, his first Christmas. He got some cool stuff. And my parents decided, you know what? I know how much Scott loves Star Wars. So I got a Millennium Falcon and an X-Wing fighter and a TIE fighter. And I was like a kid again at Christmas, putting this stuff. And I had them on fish strings down in the basement. And this stuff I come home from work, everything was gone. He was staying with me, until he got on his feet again. Does this kind of sound familiar?
Well, it sounded like he got on his feet by taking your shit.
Yep. Oh, I went off. And so you're probably thinking, well, Scott, why the hell did you fall for his shit again? I was a dumbass.
Oh man, I'm getting mad. And I've met this individual, but
Yep.
damn.
At a convention.
Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to step out. I gotta use the restroom, gentlemen.
Man.
That
That's some
being
shit
said-
that would get your ass beat.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
What a shithead, man.
That being said, a word from our sponsors. Chris and I would like to thank you for watching or listening to Meet Us in the Man Cave. Since you enjoyed watching us, make sure that you tell all your friends and family to subscribe to Meet Us in the Man Cave here on YouTube. Make sure you click on that notification bell. That way you're notified on our next video podcast or live stream video. Better yet, if you appreciate freedom of speech and oppose of censorship for content creators, make sure you follow Meet Us in the Man Cave on Rumble. Are you on Discord? Well, Meet Us in the Man Cave's there. Come and hang out with us. You can find and follow Meet Us in the Man Cave on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. And as always, you can listen and download Meet Us in the Man Cave on your favorite podcasting app. Available to stream or download so you can listen all you want, whenever you want. For more information, go to meetusinthemancave.podbean.com.